Hello, it's bonsai time again. Yes, it's a Chinese elm, but it's quite an interesting one because it's exposed root. We'll turn it round, but also it's sort of floating. So begs the question what we can do with it, because obviously the root is all on that side, and there's nothing on this side. So I bought it because it's interesting. It was very cheap. I have reduced branches down. These top ones were down here, and that one was down here. That one was out here, so I've chopped them down, and that one. But what I'm going to do is plant it on a rock. So this is the rock here, piece of limestone. But as you can see, it's got a hollow which is obviously sloping down, so I'm hopefully going to get the tree into here, and then it's going to grow back branch over there, and the roots are going to come this way. So it's going to have roots this way, obviously trunk up here, and then the rock this way. So as you can see, this is a bit of a water shaped piece of limestone. Very interesting, lots of nooks and crannies. So it will be very good. It's going to be quite a large composition though, and the tree is going to have to grow over time into the rock, because it's going to be quite large rock at the moment in proportion. But we're going to do that. I've also got a pot here, so tray, pot. I don't know whose pot this is. There's no markings, but I think it's a French pot maker. I bought some off the European Pottery Collective, so it's probably French, I think. But we're going to do that. Obviously this is classic S-bend, although it's quite an open bend, and it's quite a substantial trunk already as well. But this tree was very cheap, so we're going to experiment and see what happens over time. I have been working for the last few hours on some of the other trees, which we'll get to see them over the next few weeks. Hello again. So I have cleaned all the soil off, most of it, like 90%, 95%, and I've done that obviously because it's in horrible compost, but also it had vine weevil. So I took about 7 or 8 out, and it obviously killed them. But if you don't know, vine weevil are the enemy, and they will eat the roots. So it has done a little bit of damage. I've taken that out. I've cleaned up quite a bit. There's a little bit more cleaning to do. But as you see, it has still got quite a lot of root. It will do better now because it's going to go into a better soil. But you can see the underneath there, like fat root base, everything going that way. I don't mind that big root that's going round because it's going to go up against that rock. But it's quite interesting. So I don't want this to be another exposed root, because I've got quite a few of them. It's going to be planted on the rock. So I'm going to get rid of the soil, and then going to prepare the pot, and then see what we do. There we go, not too bad. Back again. So I've been preparing the pot. We've got some wiring to wire the tree into the pot. So the reason you do that is obviously to keep it stable, so that the roots can develop. If you don't do it, and then the tree moves in the wind, especially when it's got leaves on, or you knock it, you'll break roots. So it gives it stability, keeps it in one place. So you can see I've got a base layer, so drainage layer on there, just a fine volcanic mix. Then I've started to put some akadama on, and I've got the rock sort of in position, roughly where I want it. I'm going to have to wiggle it around a bit. It's quite a shallow pot, obviously. The roots have got plenty of area to go. So I'm going to put the roots here, and obviously they'll have space to move around the back there. but it's all come into place now. Obviously bonsai soils, I think I said on one of the other videos, they are inorganic. You can obviously put some organic material, so people will use mixes with pine bark and stuff. What's interesting is that creatures such as vine weevil either don't plant eggs in here and get grubs, or if you do, they struggle because this isn't a very good environment for them. So that's another reason to switch to inorganic materials, which is where bonsai is at the moment. So when I started out in bonsai, it was like John Innes #2 with extra grit, but that's a really good environment for vine weevils. So obviously there was vine weevil in there because it was in a horrible compost. In here, and I find I do use treatments to try and keep them down, systemic systemic insecticides. Obviously if there's the beetles consuming the leaves, because they do eat the leaves, they make notches in them, a systemic, they'll be poisoned that way. And obviously in the roots, grubs eating the roots, they'll die. But it's not foolproof. There are natural products to use like nematodes. Again, none of them are foolproof, but I think the combination with the organic soil that we use, it does keep them down to a minimum. So I find that on the trees that are in this sort of material, you might get one or two, but they don't do a lot of damage at all, just because they don't thrive. It's not a very good environment. So that's the top tip really, is to listen, and look at using inorganics. There isn't a magic mix. Everyone's got whatever they want, and I use all sorts of different things. A lot of Akadama, a lot of Kaizen mix. Kaizen mix does have a bit more organic material in. That's useful if you can't water your trees in the height of summer during the day. Obviously I do use the micro irrigation system, but that's not foolproof either. I'm out at work quite a lot, like most people are, and if it's really, really hot, you can't water your trees. If it's got more organic material in, it tends to keep hold of moisture a little bit better, so it will stop your trees drying out too much until you can get back and water them in the evening. But smaller pots will dry up quicker and heat up quicker, so you have to do lots of things to prevent overheating and drying out. But there are lots of tricks you can do, which I'm sure some of you know already. But I'm going to carry on. I'm going to start positioning the tree and start to look at adding the soil. So I'll see you later. Right, here we go. I've wired in the main one across there to keep it steady. This, as you can see, I've used a bit of aquarium tube in there as well, because it goes across the main root. That's to protect it. So this wiring, obviously, will keep it solid. So I'm not going to put this cross one in yet until I've put soil in. So I've got a lot of soil to put in here, which I'll use chopstick to get it in. And then I've got to arrange the roots. I have taken some more roots out, so I've taken a big one that was out here because it looks really odd. I'm also trying to get roots sort of aligned a bit more. I'm struggling here. This one is quite stubborn, needs to clean up there. I've taken another root out here, I've taken another root from there. I've taken that root that came across there as well, just didn't work. So it's coming on. So this is really the front, because the tree's bowing over. It is bowing over quite a lot, but that's not a bad thing. What I'm planning to do is grow this branch out here in this space. Obviously this one in this space is the back. Yeah, and then obviously fill that out there. The top apex is already quite crowded, so I'm going to thin that out a bit more. But it's looking quite good. It's different. So you can be very creative with material. This is inexpensive. Oh, there you go, lace bark Chinese Elm. You can see you get a very distinct orangey colour underneath. But I mean, I can't remember this tree. It was, I don't know, it was £29, which is not bad. It was ignored because obviously the roots were weird, but I like that sort of thing. And you can see the rock, the tree fits very nicely into this nook there. So I'm hoping over time it will look quite good. A lot of the rock this side, if you come out, there we go, you can see it. So that's the back. Yeah, that's sort of the front, lots of roots. So I will have to fill out this side, whether I take that out, take that back a bit. As you can see as well, it's budding out very rapidly. That's because it is warming up now. But Chinese elms are really strong. I will have to watch this area because it's unbalanced, so I do need to get plenty of growth in here and keep that under control, so that you rebalance the tree. But I quite like it. The rock is very interesting. I've got a degree in geology, so I love rocks, and we're going to talk about rocks quite a bit as well. In fact, I'm going to show you this. I picked up a lovely bit of limestone from the aquarium, local aquarium in the garden centre. I mean, look at that beautiful bit of limestone. Look, that's got a canyon in it, or valley, so that needs to clean up. It has got a couple of chips on it, but those will go over time. They'll merge in. I like it. It's got banding in it, and it's got a very flat bottom. So we're going to talk about the appreciation of rocks, which is called suseki. We'll talk about that. I've got a lot of rocks, but this one I particularly like. So I will be doing some preparation of this one, and then looking at creating a stand for it, a diasia. Yep, that's a nice piece. Look at that vein. It's good. But back to the tree. I'm going to carry on filling in soil now here. Obviously I don't want the roots to dry up, and then we're going to see what it looks like at the end. Right, cheers now. Alright, hello. Most of the soil is in, because most of the root is either here or over there. I've kept this a little bit shallower here because I don't want lots of water pooling here and not being used. But there is some root mass here, so that's going to spread that way, and there is a little bit to here, so it will soon fill that because it's got plenty of space to go. As you can see, this is normal grained Epidoma as well. So roots need water and oxygen. So if you have a look, lots of space for oxygen to get right inside. Those are essential to keep the roots healthy, and there'll be plenty of root growth here as long as look after it. So I'm going to give it water. It will tidy up these little bits and out, and then we'll see if I just need to do a little bit more infilling. Sometimes watering will wash some of the Akadama out. I think I've got it, and then we'll assess it. As you can see, I've already put that cross wire on, and it's tight. It's joined here. I'm just hiding that under the soil. These are going to show, but obviously this tree's nowhere near being displayable really. It's all for my benefit, but hopefully it's good. The rock doesn't look too big now. I quite like it. It looks big from this angle, but obviously once it's filled out over the next few years it'll be better. But from the front, from here, it's not too bad. That's very sympathetic there. I like that. Yeah, I've had this piece of rock a long time. The tree's fairly new. I mean, that root comes out the front and goes all the way around the back. It doesn't matter, it's hidden. I know some people go, oh, that root crosses, but you know what, they do in nature. And this is about trying to create a natural planting. I'm not strict on rules, on the bonsai rules. Obviously there's certain aesthetics to follow. If you don't, things just don't look right. But I've seen plenty of trees that grow like this, with the roots all twisted around But this is growing essentially quite natural to how it would if there was a small seedling that had developed there. Its roots are going to come this way because that's a barrier. But it looks quite good. I like it, and that's what matters. People can criticise, they can have an opinion, fair enough. But this is what I like doing, like creating. I've got plenty of fairly traditional trees, but I've got plenty that are the naturalistic style, which is the European style that's been growing. You know, it's not traditionally Japanese. It's more, it's not wiring trees to death. I mean, there's certainly a place for highly sculptured trees and highly wired trees. It's very, very good art form, but sometimes I think they're a bit too perfect. Whereas nature's really good, but there's loads of imperfections. Yeah, and those imperfections can sometimes be very good. So it's not brilliant here. There's things in the way. I will do a little bit more trimming. I've taken loads out the top here, absolutely tons out. So just trying to space out the branch structure a little bit more. I need to do something with that. It's very unsightly, so I should deal with that, but maybe not now. There we go. I need to give it water first. Obviously, I said about Akadama sucks the life out of the roots if you don't water it, because it's obviously bone dry. So I'm going to get that done. I'm going to seal up all the wounds and then let it rest for a bit. Oh, I need to put a little bit more Akadama there by the looks of it. I missed that bit. I did use my metal chopsticks. There we go. They are blunt, not sharp. I like these better than the wooden ones. So I'm using that. I've been poking that in, trying to get the soil all into the roots, not leave any voids. I missed that bit though, because obviously I've had so much to do. Need a little bit more soil here, and I'll do that. See you later.